Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Bushtracker Live. I'm Vicky Newman, one of the senior celebrity reporters on Mirror Online, and I'm joined by Mark Jeffries, Mirror Showbiz editor, and I'm a Celeb expert. You know everything about it. You're the man with the plan.
Not everything, but yeah, I've got a rough idea. Yeah, we can have a chat about it for sure.
Yeah, you know all about it. So if you're watching from home, join in. Let me know your thoughts. Tell me your favourites, who you think's going to go, and ask what any questions you've got. But first up, Jeff, is right. We need to talk about last night's episode because it's starting to get really, really tense. There's a lot of friction coming now. Everyone's getting hungry, and this is the bit that I look forward to. I like the tension.
I was going to say, like, for a lot of people, they'll be saying, finally, this is the thing that,
Exactly.
when it's out in the jungle, that it's the bit which people like to see. They like to see celebrities being a bit like us, maybe having a bit of a bad temper or a bad day. It was only really two of them involved, I would say, mainly. Shane Ritchie being the chief one amongst them. He seemed a bit irritable. I don't know if he was tired as well, but it was basically a clash between him and AJ, wasn't it? And AJ wanted the pans of water, and Shane wasn't too happy. And I don't know, there seemed to be a bit of a power struggle there. We have to wait and see if that develops a bit more. But yeah, I thought it was.
Sorry, there seems to be this awkward like chain now all of a sudden where somebody can't do their job until someone else has done theirs first. Like, I can't boil the water till you've washed the pot and all that. What were they doing before? Because this has only been a couple of days that, you know, they've had a leader and they've had assigned jobs. How were they organising all this before? I don't understand how it worked and all of a sudden it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, it's a really good point. I don't really understand how this has happened because, like you say, they were obviously working before here, but also I don't remember in the jungle. Obviously, we've had camp leaders before. I don't remember there being tension over the order, the process. You know, in terms of we can't put the hot water in because we've got nothing. You know, why couldn't they just put the hot water in something else? I mean, having been there seems to be lots of sort of buckets and tin sort of things around that they could.
They need the big pot, okay? I don't know. Yeah. I don't know why you can't understand.
Yeah, the water goes cold in any other pot or something. It just seemed a bit of.
It's a magic pot.
I think with the cooking, there definitely is something with the cooking. Obviously, they're not all allowed to do that. There is an order of that. There's only two of them that are chef, and so I think that also didn't necessarily cause tension, but I think it caused pressure last night because they all wanted to get involved. They've all obviously been previously helping with the cooking and the chopping, and there's only two of them that are allowed to do it now. And I think that was another point where it didn't kick off last night, but you think maybe another night, if the cooking goes wrong and it tastes rubbish or they burn it, then I think there could be another one there as well, which could be quite good.
Yeah, you can definitely see that tension building. Like Vernon was saying, well, who can move this pan? There's too much oil in there. And then Giovanna was getting quite annoyed, wasn't she, about him kind of trying to micromanage everything. So yeah, there's gonna be more fights, I think, coming from that. So Kathy's got a question here. She said, has anyone got any idea on who they want to win yet? Have you got a winner yet, Jeffers?
Well, it's fairly obvious, but I think Jordan is quite a long way ahead at the moment, just in terms of, you know, I hate to use the word, but you talk about a journey or a story. And if you were to put up everyone's highlights at the moment, Jordan would have, you know, a decent show reel of probably 10 minutes of stuff that he's done.
Yeah, very true.
You know, you look at someone else, the other end of the scale, like someone like Holly. I mean, we could probably show our highlights in about 20 seconds. So he has obviously done the most in there.
And then she does that little bit of singing. There's a highlight.
So I think you know, obviously with the bookmakers as well, I know we have Ladbrokes on some days, and you know, Jordan is odds-on favourite to win, and I think there's good reason for that. But you know, apart from him, there has been a few changes after actually what we were talking about. Then after the tension last night, Shane's price drifted a bit, and he's looking less likely to win. And there's a bit of money. There's a bit of betting on Giovanna and also Vernon. I don't know what do you think, Vicky? Who would be your pick?
I've got a cheeky little bet on Giovanna, and so obviously I want her to win because I'll benefit financially from it. But I did genuinely think when it all started, I thought she's so sweet. She seems like she's going to really look after everyone, and she's got a big following. You know, I was really thinking, but obviously now I'm worried that Jordan is going to do it, and I'll just lose me money.
I think you've still got a good chance. Giovanna, if anyone else is going to win at the moment, I think it probably is going to be her. As you mentioned, a huge following, an author and a podcaster, I think 7 million downloads. So she has got a huge following, and we are slowly starting to see a bit more of Giovanna as the episodes go on. She's got a nice sort of sensitive side to her. She's having good conversations in there with some of the other contestants. And I think she's got a reasonable chance. I do think she probably has to do a little bit more, which is not good for her. I mean, she probably needs to be chosen for some trials or some big incidents she needs to be at the centre of and do well. But yeah, I definitely think she's still got a chance.
Yeah, definitely. We'll just take this quick question and we're going to have to move on. But William wants to know, is the castle haunted and have they seen a ghost yet? Apart from Russell's fake ghost, I'm assuming.
I mean, the castle is rumoured to be haunted. I didn't see anything there when I was there myself, but I think there have been stories in the first week, certainly, that one of the crew members claimed to have seen a ghost and didn't want to walk around on their own when they were doing stuff. And so, if you believe in ghosts, I'm a bit sceptical myself, but if you believe in them, the castle is definitely haunted.
I mean, I do always enjoy, and I'm far from the first person to say this, but people often say that ghosts, there's never a modern ghost, is there? Whenever somebody sees a ghost, it's always somebody from like the 17th century in robes, and it's never somebody in a tracksuit.
No, that's true. I mean, but somewhere like the castle as well, it's got a lot of history. So I guess there's a lot of people live there. There's over hundreds of years. So if you are sort of afraid, or you, like I say, you believe in that stuff, I imagine it's a sort of place, especially late at night, it's all just lit by sort of fire and
Your
stuff.
imagination would run wild, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, so going back to the tension from last night, a little bit of it was kind of caused by AJ and Jess, wasn't it? Because they were a bit rubbish at the task they did, and they only won 6 stars. So I think when they went back, people were quite disappointed, thinking we're going to have empty bellies tonight.
Yeah, it was the first one for a while where they've really flopped in the trials, and it was funny because lots of people were blaming Jess because she didn't get many stars herself. But I mean, they wasted a lot of time with AJ just sort of screaming at the start. And
yeah, I enjoyed it though.
Yeah, it was good telly, but he really disappointed me. He was talking before the show about how he was going to go in there, big fan, he was going to smash it and all this. And the first sort of real test for him, and I thought he fell pretty badly, to be honest.
Yeah, it wasn't great, but it was hilarious when he was just screaming her name like over and over again. They couldn't even find each other, and they just kept saying it was pitch black, and it's like, yeah, you were told that about 5 minutes ago.
But the other thing is as well is that you don't really want the celebs to do well every night. I think that's part of the problem sometimes, is if you get a run of a week of shows and they're winning 10, 12 stars every night, obviously they're getting food every day. And so it's quite it's almost like a bit of a camping holiday then. And we don't really want that. We want them to suffer. We want them to be on rice and beans rations for a few days, because that tends to make for better TV, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, and tonight's task looks really good. It's called Cruel Jewels. Cruel Jewels. That's a good one for my accent, isn't it? Shane Ritchie has taken it on for the first time on his own. So let's have a look at the preview.
Okay, here I go. Oh, what's in here, lads? Ah! Spiders! Oh!
200 spiders!
Oh, God, no! Oh, ah! Oh, oh, oh.
This is horrible.
Oh. Where are they? Is there some behind me?
They're everywhere in there.
Oh, God.
200 of them.
How many?
200.
Oh, it's arachnophobia, isn't it?
This is a good start to tell them when you get back to camp. 200 spiders.
You don't have to keep reminding me that.
I always really enjoy Ant and Dex standing on the sideline laughing at them. I would be exactly the same. I wouldn't be able to control myself, I don't think.
I mean, they've got the best seat in the house, haven't they, to watch all the trials? Yeah, it looks like Shane, he looks a little bit nervous, but he's laughing and joking with them, which I think is probably a good sign in terms of him doing quite well, perhaps, when it takes place.
This would be one for me that would be absolutely horrifying. I am terrified of spiders. Like, I'm in my 30s now, and I'm only just sort of getting the hang of getting them out the house. But there's a scale. There's a certain size I just can't go near. I couldn't deal with that.
Well, I think with this one particularly, the horror of it is putting your head up in there with the spiders. It's obviously, as they said, it's 200 spiders in that one. I think there's another display case where he's got to put his head up into. And I think, you know, the other things in this trial that we know that are going to be in there are snakes, naked rats, scorpions, and bearded dragons. So maybe he's going to put his head up and there's going to be snakes, which would be a lot of people's worst nightmare. But yeah, he's got 12 minutes to do it. I think he's got 5 of those sort of boxes to get stars out of, and it looks like he's doing pretty well there. You know, it looks like he's going to get the 2 out of with the spiders. So perhaps they're going to get quite a decent meal tonight.
Yeah, we'll see. Go on. Speaking of food as well, we'll have to discuss the absolute shocking behaviour last night. Right, here's a question for you. Do you want to eat a Scotch egg right now, or do you want to eat a chocolate mini egg?
Well, yeah, I would go for the mini eggs too. The only thing I can think of is maybe that someone in there that was thinking of those sort of really posh sort of Scotch eggs you get from a pub that cost about 20 quid. And
look at Jessica's face there. She is raging.
I think from previous experience of the jungle version of the show, it's generally the sugary treats that they like. So I think anything savoury doesn't tend to go down as well. Occasionally maybe cheese and crackers or something, but most of the time it's the sweets, the chocolate that they want, because obviously it gives them a bit more energy. And if they have, you know, not done so well on the trial and haven't had much food, at least the sugar gives them a bit of a boost.
Yeah, definitely. William's saying it looks like the Crystal Maze. That's a good point, that actually. I can see where he's coming from there.
Yeah, I've seen a few people on social media compare it to Crystal Maze. I think particularly with the trials, because it's all, you've got all the stonework around and stuff. And I think there is a bit of Crystal Maze in there. I was a big fan of the Crystal Maze, so I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. But yeah, they've definitely maybe taken little parts from other shows maybe for this year.
So there's been lots of claims so far that the trials are a bit fake and they're too easy this year. And, you know, people so far generally have been winning a lot of stars. What do you think? Do you think they're getting off easy this year?
I mean, I think they've had a difficult time because I guess they've only been in the castle about 10 weeks and they had to prepare the trials based on the areas they've got, and that might change things. Obviously, they've got slightly different animals and things, and I guess the surroundings that they can use as well. So that might be one. That might be one reason. Yeah, I don't think obviously there's a story around today about potentially that the contestants get sort of walked through them in advance. ITV have been pretty strong this morning saying that that's not true. There's no run throughs. They're sometimes explained beforehand a bit about the. I think that's more for health, as far as they're concerned. That's more for health and safety purposes. But yeah, I do think they've probably won too many stars this year. As we were saying earlier, you want sometimes someone to go in there and get none or 2 or whatever because they don't get any food, and then also, you know, that can sometimes create tension. But I think we're to blame a bit for that. We kept voting for Jordan, and actually he was quite good at the trials. You know, he wasn't Helen Flanagan. So no. I think if we want them to get less stars, you probably need to vote for the right person.
Yeah, there's a couple of people asking as well if we've found out who the smelly one is in camp. Because didn't Victoria say something about how somebody in particular smelled quite bad and she didn't know whether she should say something to them or not? Do we know who that is?
I don't know for definite. I think that's one we're going to have to ask when people start to come out. Because I wondered on that day if it was Jordan, because I think someone came back who was smelling from a trial, and Jordan then went and helped them shower at the time. And I remember thinking, if it was him, he's probably going to have a bit of a wash now and it'll be all right. Because at that point, he'd been doing a lot of the trials. So I did wonder if it's Jordan, but apologies, Jordan, if it wasn't you, but that would be my guess.
I'm sure you'll never find out you said that, don't worry. But yeah, Ant and Dec have said before, haven't they, that the part where they go into the camp to tell them who is doing the trial that night. They've said before, after a few days, it just reeks.
Yeah, normally I think the fire is partly to blame as well, because they also, you remember if you sit around a barbecue or something, sometimes you come away, you smell quite a lot. Well, they're sat around that fire, 24/7 pretty much, and then you throw in the trials, and it's quite a sort of damp place this year as well, with moss and stuff growing on the walls. And I just think, and obviously some of them have been wearing the same clothes for multiple days. So yeah, I imagine if you walked in there now, having not been in there before, like if one of us walked in, it would smell quite bad, to be honest.
Yeah, just by comparison, I suppose, because obviously you smell of roses, don't you, Jeffers?
Always.
Just quickly, let's discuss first eviction. So it must be coming up. Maybe it'll be this weekend. Who's in danger? Who's going to go first?
Yeah, I think it will be this weekend, maybe as early as Thursday or Friday. My guess at the moment would be Friday night. Yeah, the favourite to go is Holly. I saw Ruthie also down there in terms of in the betting, but she has been quite involved in a few things. I guess what you've got to think about is who are the fan base of these people. Someone like Jess, who some people are thinking could go. She should have some. You would think would have some soap fans who would vote for her. But I'm not sure if Holly's got that same fan base. So she would be the one I think most likely in danger at the moment for me. Yeah,
no, I agree. I think she's achieved lots of amazing things, but she's just from a totally different world, and she's not on the same kind of level as Mo Farah, is she? Where he is a huge household name, she's not. And while this show could help propel her to that status, I think if you haven't got a bit of that already, or if you're not a real standout character like Jordan has been, there is a struggle there, isn't there, to kind of get votes.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is if you can somehow survive a couple of episodes and stay in there, then obviously the camp gets smaller, you probably get more airtime, and you might then be able to come out of your shell and be a real contender to come in the top half. But it's just about surviving this first couple, because unfortunately, by the time the eviction comes on Friday, a few of the contestants in there won't really have had much airtime at all, and so they're not really to blame. They're just not really seen and heard, and so there's no reason to vote for them.
Yeah, very true. Well, it's getting very interesting anyway, so I'm excited to see what happens. The show is on slightly later tonight at 9:15 on ITV, so make sure you tune in and check out what happened with Shane and his 200 spiders. And don't forget as well, get all the latest I'm a Celeb news by signing up to our newsletter, and join us every day here for a little natter, and we'll see you again. Thanks very much.